And welcome everyone to Game 2 between BYU RatPoison and Extinct Shinigami. This is of course in the MSL Code B tournament. If you'd like to watch some of the other games, they will be found here on my channel on YouTube. And this matchup, when I say this matchup, I say that RatPoison went up 1-0 in this match with a very aggressive 8 pool that was not scouted. Although there was an SCV in time, it just the wall off was not created, and Shinigami went down immediately as soon as the Lings were in the base. Did not feel that he was able to deal with that correctly. So this time, looks like RatPoison is not doing an 8 pool, is instead doing a very early drone scout here on Belshir Vestige. Love the floating pendant, that's quite exciting. Same exact build from Shinigami, and no reason really to change. One of the good signs of a good Starcraft player is their ability to take a loss, and instead of freaking out and doing something completely different, they simply react and make a small change, adjusting ever so slightly their gameplay. And the difference here will probably be he will either scout earlier or wall off. That's going to be my guess. Still no pool down from RatPoison, and he's up to 15 food, so hopefully we will see a 15 hatch and then a 15 pool. This is a very common tactic. Throw your opponent off in the best of 5 with a crazy opening. Hope they overreact to the next game so you can get a bigger advantage. We do have a 15 pool. Want to see perhaps another 15 hatch. Really want to see a longer, more economic game. Really get to see some more fun things going on. Although, don't get me wrong, I really like 8, 9, 6, anywhere 6 through 10 pool. They're all entertaining. Let's be honest here. It's kind of like going to the races, the sprint races, and saying that you like to go to the race. You also enjoy the crashing. That's just kind of how things are. A little bit of probe and drone and SCV scuffling going on. We do have this drone's actually been in here for a very long time. He is continuing to regenerate health, and is actually getting a lot of good scouting information. Although I feel like Shinigami is spending a lot more time controlling that than perhaps he should. There's no hatchery down. It looks like this one finally will go down for a hatchery, as he did in fact lose that drone, and I feel like that actually put him a little bit behind. Ooh, we do have a 2 racks opening. With the early gas though, he should be able to get, he does have enough gas for a factory here soon, and would not be surprised to see that go down. Otherwise you wonder what in the world they'd be spending that gas on. So in the meantime, hatchery going down, there it goes. There's the factory. It's a little bit later, probably because of this little micro battle. When I say micro battle, I mostly just mean a single drone and a single SCV. So not anything really big at stake, and that's why I say it's a little bit of a mistake. Generally, you want to spend as much time as the importance that the engagement has on it. So if the engagement is not important, I actually feel like it's not very important to spend lots of time microing to get every last resource out of this army. Although, if it's a big important battle, for sure, getting the extra life out of that single tank or immortal or something like that, doing some impressive drop or stutter step micro, something like that can be very, very useful. I just feel like at times your APM, it might be better spent elsewhere. You see pro players do this when they have some units that just get scattered across the map, and they send them there, and they might not actually use any of their 300 APM to go crazy. You know, what would be really entertaining is if he pushed the Overlord that direction. That would have really made me happy. We do have a Spore Crawler going down. Where's the Spore Crawler? Or did I just misread something? Some roaches. Oh, there was the Spore Crawler. Some roaches in production. I feel like at this point in time, the army sizes are very similar, although I feel like generally the main mistake that I see lower level Zerg players do is they feel like they need to get a lot of units out quick to stay alive. And instead, I feel like they should rely a little bit more on scouting. This is a long time. If you have an Overlord hanging out right here, or right up here, or anywhere, somewhere along this area, you have like 45 seconds to a full game minute before they arrive at your base. And instead of building units early on, you could simply just build more drones. Although he does have a worker advantage, so congratulations. All too many times I see Zerg players at a drone or at a worker disadvantage, and it makes me kind of have a giant frowny face. The injects and a Baneling nest. But the injects have been pretty good. Look at this. Only up to 30 energy. Is going to accumulate a little bit here, and there was, in fact, a creep tumor thrown down. A good scan from Shinigami. Excellent placement. Seeing every single thing there is to see there in the main base. And it looks like RatPoison's a little bit worried about drop play. Building a very preemptive Spore Crawler well before there was actually any ability to have Medivacs. I just kind of want to point that out. To have Medivacs, you first need to have a factory, and then you need to build a starport and the Medivac. So generally the fastest you can kind of see them out is actually somewhere around now, the 8 to 10 minute mark. It's similar timing to actually mutas, if that helps user players out there. So roughly the same time frame that you can start getting mutas or start building your spire, you should start thinking about protecting yourself against drops. Interesting placement here from the Evo chambers as well. I love to watch players play SimCity. However, I probably would have put them up here. Keep this these units forced into a choke. Although, and here what this does is actually makes you force yourself into a choke. So a little bit of an interesting choice there. With the Hellbats here at front, this could be a pretty tough to defend attack. There's not enough units here from Shinigami. There are some queens here, but no transfuses being thrown down. And it looks like they will simply roll over everything. All their drones being pulled. The roaches here just not able to do enough DPS to really take this army out. There are 14 lings in production, but remember, Hellbats chew through lings. 3 more drones, 3 more roaches coming out. A counterattack would actually be, actually would not do anything. Good choice here. A lot of times you try to fight with all of your drones. He did fight with some of them, although I hope some of them. No, it looks like all of them were killed as well. The roaches here getting some good damage in while they're all focusing down the hatchery. High priority target, and they are able to take that out. Now that the Hellbats are gone, this attack doesn't look near so scary, especially with Banelings. Boom. Done. So, a good attack from Shinigami, able to take out that hatchery, although RatPoison not losing a horrible amount. Still 1,000 resources more than his opponent, so that was definitely painful. We'll see how he decides to come back from this. 6 more drones in production. I want to see him throw down that second base, like, immediately. I really dislike one-base strategies like this. You feel like you're behind and you feel like you have to commit to an all-in. That's actually not true. You're not as behind as you might think. Looking at the army size, you're almost identical, so an all-in would be very difficult to work anyway. Here, okay, perfect. So RatPoison is not actually insane. He's a fan of being sane. He has to wait for these... That's unfortunate. So he has to wait for these drones to pop out before he can build. He does indeed do that. I'd like to see you control the watchtowers as well. And actually, at this point in time, I'd probably throw down a 3rd base because, like, you know that you have the same size army as your opponent, roughly. Most of your army died, and most of their army died. And assuming nothing crazy has happened, you know you're roughly on equal footing. And I'd really love to see another base be thrown down. Because remember, Zerg need to stay at least 1 base up on your opponent. I feel like this is the wrong decision. You know. There is a factory, and with factories comes the possibility to build things that can explode on you, mostly siege tanks and Widow Mines. The Banelings here could do a good amount of damage, but they're off creep, they do not have speed, and with this number of Marines, they will probably get focused down very quickly. Instead, I think it would be hilarious to put a few Banelings buried right here, just burrow them here, and then when the units come, ooh. And Shinigami, missing the Baneling by just a fraction of an inch. Now with the additional Banelings here, this could do quite a bit of damage, but it's really going to depend on the control. It really is going to happen there. So Concentrical Hooks is being researched, however it is not finished. Okay, here are the Medivacs. There is a siege tank, it does not siege. If the siege tank is sieged and the Banelings lead the charge, which they are apt to do, this will probably go very poorly for RatPoison. He's already at a food disadvantage. And unless he does a whole bunch of damage here, one Baneling being sent into the mineral line. Excellent reaction. Good detonation. Does not take out the opponents. So, good detonation, but it will be healed up by the medevacs if they so desire. And what are we looking at? So, Shinigami does still have the worker advantage. He is taking third base. This is not typically the third base that you see people take. Generally, this one is taken before, although occasionally, and particularly with meching, actually not on this map, generally, this is a fourth base. It's just a little bit farther away. It's harder to reinforce, whereas this one's just so much closer. This one's a little bit vulnerable as well because you have so many different attack paths, but overall, I think it's a much better choice. And I feel like the army size for RatPoison has not changed any time recently. Oh, they're going to get a good few detonations there. Once again, only losing a few. He's continuing sending in a few. Ooh, big explosions there. Excellent connections, and RatPoison correctly going to retreat from the giant, scary army. Back home, I don't think there's anything he can do to counteract this, though. He now is caught up in drones, but I don't think he has enough larvae. He only has 9 larvae. That's not very much army. This army is a little bit slower than his army, and will take a little bit more time to cross the map, but 8 more Zerglings is actually not going to be enough to hold this off. So, good creep spread. This will actually help out a lot with the Banelings, as I assume that's what he's going to be doing with those lings that are coming out. He's going to be morphing in. Baneling mines would probably be a good idea. Also want to engage at the top of the high ground. Here's more Banelings. Just in case, this is an excellent move. Just in case there are those Widow Mines, he is morphing in some preemptive Overseers. Good job there. He does cancel it. So, okay, we're going to see how this engagement goes. The Banelings here are being hidden a little bit. We do have a few mutas on the field. When I say few, I mean there is a muta on the field. It could do something interesting. Oh, it's going to be taken out. Oh, it's flying away ever so carefully. Going to start flailing away, spitting on those medevacs. Not able to get much done. Remember, mutas have like an incredibly low DPS. And a big elevator attack here. All the units out front trying to defend, and instead Shinigami is actually just going to go back. Ooh, but he does see it. He does see it. The mutas, they're rallied right over top of his opponent. He is now moving here. This is good. Defend the high ground. It's called Defender's Advantage, and it's super valuable. It's not as effective when they have air units to give you vision, but they're still forcing their way up a choke, and having static defenses here would really help out quite a bit. This is a good idea. Zerglings counterattacking, but notice that planetary fortresses kill Zerglings super quickly. So, kind of surprised that Shinigami has not, in fact, continued this attack more right now, or just simply elevated up here. This, I feel like the game would have been over quite a while ago if there was any way that he could get those units up top. This is a good placement. I'm surprised he's not cleaning out the creep around him, because advancing onto creep can be very, very dangerous. He's continuing to scan, trying to figure out what his opponent is doing. So, the muta's continuing to go in, trying to snipe off those tanks, knowing those are dangerous. Ooh, very good placement right there. The mutas are not going to be able to take them out. They need to save the mutas. That's going to be something that will help keep himself alive. The roach is going in. The Banelings need to go in first. Banelings going in. They're going to get focused down. The Banelings are starting to get a couple good connections. They're instead heading to tanks, which actually is a very bad thing for RatPoison. The mutas here are not going to be able to keep up the Marines on the ground. Although all the Marines got picked up into the medevacs. That allowed the mutas to do significantly more damage than they should have been able to. There were no Marines on the ground. And now some additional... Oh, the heavy armor units that's absorbing a lot of the Banelings there. Those mutas are not going to be able to take this out. Now with the flood of lings, this will be taken out. And, ooh, even the drone's getting in on the action. This will be taken out. He was attacking before Stim, which is a little bit of an interesting timing. He is behind this, continuing to expand. RatPoison also expanded, and did not lose very many drones at all. He lost maybe 2 or 3 Those could have actually been from something else like buildings. So remember, every time you build a building, you have to remember that you have to add 50 more minerals back into it because it eats a drone. Of course, it doesn't eat it. That would make it a little bit scarier. But anyway, so everything's stabilizing again. The army sizes still very clearly in favor of Shinigami. He's got a much larger economy and has no bank. He's been spending his money much better. And so what that means is, though, even though the economy might have been the same, this could do quite a bit of damage. All the Lings are going to take out this huge number of SCVs. There's been almost no reaction from Shinigami. The tanks in the front, those are very, very vulnerable. He is going to retreat, though. So that was a great counterattack. Although now it's only down to 21. A whole bunch of SCVs down to very low health. He was not able to get as much done as he would have liked. A very brave Overseer and a Zergling that somehow is just not doing anything. The scan going down, checking for that third base. He does indeed see it. The unit count, they are now equal on drones. It's just RatPoison's been having a little bit of a hard time spending it. He's got quite a bit more of a bank. That could be due to larva injects. No, he is injecting, but it's only with one queen, so that's a little bit suspect. We are seeing a large influx of mutas, so he is now up to 8. He'll be up to 9. Once you get past 15 to 16 mutas, kind of up towards 20, they start becoming a critical mass, and mutas can start to take out a lot more than they should be able to. But until then, their low DPS really hampers their ability to be very effective. Big Doom drop coming this way. If it's less than 2 medevacs, it's not a big deal. Even if it's greater than, or less than or equal to 2. Anyway, the Marines here dropping out of the space, landing on very cushy creep, and are going to take out every single drone here. We do have another engagement here, but the mutas are not able to take out those tanks, and with that, this will make that engagement really, really hard. It looks like RatPoison is probably looking like he's kind of falling apart a little bit. He's going to go back and defend his bases, probably a good choice, although will they get back there in time? Why did I even ask? They're speedlings for a reason. With the good creep spread, he's able to defend this drop, does not lose any more. He does it in night afterburners. Is he going to go right into the main base? The Shinigami is going ahead and continuing on into the main base. He already did his afterburners, so now, and flying right over, that's what the Spore Crawler is for. It's to take out these units later in the game. It was preemptive. A lot of supply going down for Shinigami. I feel like he should have been content with just that. Although, hindsight, 2020, I can see everything because I am an observer. I live in space. Big army here, though. That was just a small contingent of his forces. I also love the wall right here. Excellent. He's been having so many Ling and Baneling run-bys. It's a great choice to take that. Come on. RatPoison, there you go. Glad that you heard me. In terms of upgrades, we do have 2-2 already done for Shinigami, whereas RatPoison's only at +1, so his units are at a significant upgrade disadvantage, and 3-3 already on the way. Shinigami playing very well in the late game with those 2 eBays, and there's actually nothing here. Oh, these mutas could be doing so much more damage. Instead, they're just taking out a refinery, a few things at a time. Now he is taking active control of them. He's going to start taking down SCVs. Quite a few at a time. They're all clumped up. The splash damage there is going to do a lot, but he needs to get out there soon because those missile turrets are going to finish up, and he will be forced back because only 3 SCV or 3 or 4 mutas going to be pushed back by that number of missile turrets. Now Shinigami pressing his way forward, approaching his opponent's base. He does scan up here, checks to see that base. He does clean up that attack over here. He will be taking out this 4th base here. This hatchery is still not quite done, so RatPoison's still on a significantly less economy, although the number of workers is about the same. Crazy good hits for the Banelings, although I don't know if there's going to be enough to clean up the ground forces. There's still more Marines on the ground, and Marines against mutas is just not even fair. And excellent hits, an excellent engagement in terms of cost for the money. Generally, it's really hard to get that good of connections off, but Shinigami simply able to overcome through upgrades and mass. He did not split his Marines at all. He says, I can take it. Now he goes back up. Now it's 1-1 in this best of 5, so we'll see what the next 2 games bring and who will advance to the semifinals and who will advance to the losers bracket.